Wouldn't surprise me at all if that was intentional and they were trying to jizz up some type of coup or some type of insurrection, as Jamie Raskin would say, or whatever.
Yeah.
Look.
I ask because, you know, you're criticizing how President Biden and Democrats were spending. It was in 2012, 4 years before Trump was ultimately elected, that he posted, you get what you vote for. The U.S. credit rating is about to be downgraded once again. What do you say to Republican voters who say this is not what I wanted to happen and is why I voted for President Trump?
It's better than it was. We're on a better trajectory than we were under Joe Biden. I mean, it's proven. Even all economists will tell you that. But it's not as good as it needs to be, and I don't think it's as good as President Trump wants it to be. I think that it's closer than we've ever been.
On mobile,
But you're the president. Can't you find out?
No, I know. I'm relying on my people to tell me what it is. You know, we have deep-seated craziness in this country, and I'm relying on my people. And so far, they're good. But so far, and in this case, it's Secret Service, they tell me it's fine. But it's a little hard to believe, to be honest with you, okay? It's a little bit hard to believe as I get that throbbing feeling.
Yeah.
I get a little throbbing feeling.
Well, if you find out, we'd love to know. We continue to ask.
I know. No, I
and a lot of
understand
people
what
ask
you're
us.
It's a little bit strange. We have incredible people in there now, so can't blame them. So the money is the money. What bothered me, I hated to see the way it was, you know, excuse me, pissed away. I hated to see that checks were sent for $60 billion. Every time Zelensky, I think he's the greatest salesman in the world, far better than me. Zelensky, he comes to Washington, he walks out with $100 billion every time he came, $100 billion. Now his abilities were shrinking because the last time he only got $60 billion. But Congress is very upset about it. You know, they're saying, where is all this money going?
But I'm focused on
we
Putin.
send checks. We don't only send we send just checks. We sent just cash. Where is it? The Europeans have been very badly hurt by this. They spent a lot of money also. They spent $100 billion. We spent $350. It shouldn't be that. It should have been the other way around. But
are you going to put the
they
screws
have not
to
been
Putin?
treated. Wait, they have not been treated right.
I haven't seen you get personal. On Truth Social, you said, Vladimir, stop. He hasn't stopped. And you had once said that maybe you need to look at other things like sanctions or banking.
Okay, so
because maybe they need to be pressured in a different way.
And I'll be doing that if
and do you think that it's
I don't want to see 5,000 people. You know, outside of the money, which is a big deal, but the money is the money. The money we can make up. I can make up the money on one trip like this. Okay, I mean, think of it. This trip, I made 12 times the money that we're talking about. I made that money in a few days. I've always been good with money.
It's not about the money, it's about pressuring Putin, right? I mean,
No, but I've always been good with money. I make money. I made in 4 days, I made 12 times what we spent in Ukraine. So the money is the money. What bothered me, I hated to see the way it was, you know, excuse me, pissed away. And I think we'll do it fast, too. I think Putin is tired of this whole thing. He's not looking good, and he wants to look good. Don't forget, this was supposed to end in 1 week. And if he didn't get stuck in the mud with his army tanks all over the place, they would have been in Kiev in about 5 hours. And who gave the javelins? Do you remember who gave the javelins? Was it Barack Hussein Obama? No, it was Donald Trump gave the javelins.
Do you think your perception of it has changed? Is Putin now the obstacle to peace in your mind?
Look, I had a real rough session with Zelensky because I didn't like what he said. And he was not making it easy. And I always said he doesn't have the cards. And he doesn't have the cards. And, you know, I'm being honest. He doesn't have the cards. You're dealing with a massive army, and you're dealing with somebody that's brave, that had great equipment. And he suggested this. And I said, you know what? That's very nice. That's very nice. I appreciate it. What would be the price? He said, there is no price. I said, that's nice. Now, this plane's not for me. This goes to the United States Air Force for whoever is president. And At some point, it'll be like Ronald Reagan. It'll be decommissioned. You know, it's 11 years old.
So it stays until it's decommissioned.
Yeah, it'll be decommissioned because they won't want it. Plus, they'll have the other 2 planes by that time, and there'll be brand new planes, etc. But I just want to say, it was a radical left story that a lot of people, including you.
I asked the Prime Minister about
But
it
you know what?
specifically,
Yeah,
and
good.
he said, you know, he didn't understand the reaction back home, and you know, he made that clear.
I think it was.
Coverage back home was about this donation of the Qatar Boeing jet, and I've heard you talk about it.
You know, until you bring this up now, I haven't heard about it for 3 days.
I know, but I mean, I'm just.
I mean,
telling
we
you
can
back
talk
home.
about it again. You ready?
Briefly.
You ready?
No, I heard all the answers.
Well, no, but your audience has to hear the answers. Yeah.
They're giving it to the Defense Department.
To be very simple.
Yeah.
They're giving it to the United States Air Force / Defense Department of the United States. They're not giving it to me. I made a good deal. We need a plane for a couple of years before we get the other ones because Boeing is
Boeing's-
very late. Boeing is sadly.
Did you talk to the CEO while
I
you were?
did. I said, let's get, you know, in the meantime, I got them 160 planes to build. I said, how
From
about the
Qatar.
2 that you're supposed to build for our country? Now, they are different. They're extremely complex, and I'm not going to go into it,
Yeah,
but they're not like a normal plane. You know, it's not like building a 747 normal.
I mean, we could put people on the moon before
But let me tell you,
the Boeing Air Force One is
people
done.
knew I was angry at Boeing. It was tit for tat. And it was getting deeper and more, I mean, more missiles. Everyone was stronger, to a point where the next one's going to be, you know what, the N-word. You know what the N-word is, right?
Nuclear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
I figured you'd
Yeah.
want to clean that up. No, it's the N-word. That's a very nasty word, right? In a lot of ways. The N-word used in a nuclear sense, that's the worst thing that can happen. And I think.
And you think the Israel-Hamas, the situation in Gaza is going to come to an end soon?
Gaza's a nasty place. It's been that way for years. I think it should become a free zone. You know, freedom. I call it a freedom zone. It should become a freedom zone. It doesn't work. Every 10 years they go back. They have Hamas. They have everybody's being killed all over the place. I mean, you ever see? You talk about crime stats. It's a nasty place.
Are these people, these countries that you were just visiting, are they going to have to be a part of the solution?
Well, they would be. They would be. I spoke to all 3 of them. They would absolutely be. I mean, they're really rich and really, really, really even more than rich. They're good people, and they would help. And so money's not even the problem.
Well, you got to get countries to say yes, to
Well,
take them.
Look, these are people that want to be in the Middle East. They really want to be in the Middle East. They love the Middle East. I see that. There's a spirit for the Middle East. They didn't have.
On the way back, not doing it this time. Obviously, the Israel-Hamas and what's happening in Gaza is driving a lot. How do you see that? Are you frustrated at all with Prime Minister Netanyahu?
No, look, he's got a tough situation. You have to remember there was an October 7th that everyone forgets. It was one of the most violent days in the history of the world, not the Middle East, the world, when you look at the tapes. And the tapes are there for everyone to see. So he has that problem. That problem should have never happened. Now, if I were president, that problem wouldn't have happened because Iran had no money. They were stone cold broke, and they weren't giving money to Hamas. In fact, I remember.
This is just crazy. The American dream now streaming. I'm not being sarcastic, troops. Take a breath. Gather around for the latest episode of America's Got Citizenship. Brought to you by, well, the same visionary minds that thought, what if we combined Survivor with the naturalization process, wrapped it all up in a reality TV show and pushed it on something like Fox News. Picture this, their words, 12 immigrants handpicked not for their dreams or determination to improve their life in America, but for their camera readiness of desperation that can be exploited by Fox and Co, competing in challenges like build a rocket with no instructions, or run for your life, the dogs are after you, or go gold panning in San Francisco Bay while the crocodiles are running around. The prize, a fast-track US citizenship ceremony complete with confetti and a handshake from some clown from Fox News or Harris Faulkner. I'll be there. Now, some might say this is a celebration of the American spirit. Are they crazy? Seriously, turning the path of citizenship into a game show is about as tasteful serving apple pie with a side of exploitation. It is just wrong, wrong, wrong. And who's behind this groundbreaking concept? Sarcasm added there. Producer best known for Duck Dynasty. What a surprise! Because when you think of nuanced portrayals of the immigrant experience, you naturally think of a bearded duck hunter. Oh, I could say other words that rhyme with duck right there. There's more, hold on. Reports suggest that officials from the Department of Homeland Security, more commonly known as where puppy killer Kristi Noem hangs out, are considering this pitch. Although they say, in a plot twist worthy of daytime TV, DHS spokespersons have denied any involvement, stating that Secretary Kristi Noem, puppy killer, hasn't even reviewed the proposal. Yeah, okay. She just loves the headline. No doubt she'll be spinning this one. Anyway, to recap, a reality show where immigrants compete for citizenship is being pitched by a reality TV producer. And it's possibly under consideration by DHS, but officially denied by DHS. It's the, how should we say, the bureaucratic equivalent of saying, we were never here. And it's so sick. Please comment. Is this right? Because in the end, the proposal raises important questions about how we view immigration. Is it a journey of hope and perseverance for a better life, or just another opportunity for the likes of Fox or some primetime entertainment setup to exploit people's lives? What are they going to do in the next episode? Get contestants to navigate the obstacle course of American bureaucracy? It is, in my mind, crap. What do they want to do? You know, get them blindfolded running through crocodile pools with torches? Oh, I don't know. It's so sad that they're trying to change. Just think about it. Someone's making that change of a life-changing move, and now let's exploit it by putting cameras on it. It's just, please, comment section.